if it were up to me, the DMD era would just start from the beginning of when AEW started and would end in probably like 5 or 6 years from now. But I'll be honest with you, the only person that I see taking the title off of Britt is Thunder Rosa, and so I think
that's a unanimous here at Dynamite Download. You know it,
and it's been that way for a long time, brother. That is the feud. I say it all the time on social media. We try to push that's the feud in professional wrestling. That is the best feud in pro wrestling. And when AEW wants to tap back into that, they know they're instantly going to have money. So I think that they're doing a nice job of keeping Thunder off of Dynamite, keeping her out of the DMD's periphery. But I think it's only a matter of time. Thunder she came up just short in the Battle Royal when we were there at All Out. And I think there's a big push for her on social.
Right.
Thunder Rosa versus DMD is the long term. So I think that Ruby can stay involved with the DMD and keep feuding with her, but there is room at the top. The DMD is going to have a lot of people chomping at the bit. I know there's a lot of options all of a sudden in the women's division.
For sure. And this match was a well-deserved main event that these two women got tonight. You have a very significant addition to AEW, and then obviously the face of the division, and some would say the face of AEW in the DMD, getting that spotlight in front of the largest crowd, and probably it's going to be one of the largest TV crowds as well, with the big hype and the size of the card that we've been looking at. So these women went to battle at first. I love DMD's offense to kick things off. She was very aggressive. And then, as I always say, we get the biggest heel, bigger heel than DMD, bigger heel than MJF. The picture-in-picture always happens in the women's match, whether it be the women's match starting the show, middle of the show, or end of the show. They always get the picture-in-picture. But I was happy it was a little bit earlier in the match. So you had about 10 to 12 minutes at the end. Right. But the end did seem a little bit rushed, but that was fine. But I agree with you. This feud is going to it's going to be intertwined a little bit, but it's going to, they're not, I don't think they're going to get their rematch. I think that part is done. There is so much depth to this division. And like we're seeing here,
hearing you say that, bro, that is so awesome to hear you talk.
Yeah. If you would go back and watch episode 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 of Dynamite Download, it took me a while to get on the women's division backbone, because I was hard on them, because I saw potential and I wanted so much more out of them. A year ago, I'm curious of what the women's roster looked like, and it was nowhere near this. This is well-competed roster for sure. I mean, you have the additions of who we're seeing. I mean, we know our favorites for sure. I mean, just off the cuts, obviously Thunder, Jade, a champion DMD, a defending champion, Ruby's addition, Deeb,
Conti. There's a lot of stars.
Anna Jay, all these people, and so this division is one of the fastest growing ones, I think, and one that has shown the most improvement. So it's been fun to watch for sure. But this match, the DMD being in the only 2 women's main events, there's a reason behind that. And, we said, the ultimate payoff will be versus, for sure. She is money, the DMD, baby. I liked it. It was a good way to close the show for sure. To give that spotlight, to not have it a rush spot or anything like that. It gave respect to that. And I almost wish they would have hyped that up more, saying, leading up to tonight's show, saying that they are the main event. So they deserve the hype, not necessarily like that right before the show. Oh, by the way, this is the main event. Like, they should have hyped it, because they hyped up that one versus Thunder and Britt, because the main event is a big spot. And, this was the only title that was officially defended tonight. So it did make also sense that it was the main event as well. Right. So a lot of different things. But yes, man, Bonds, what's your take on it?
I mean, you guys pretty much said it all. This match was a lot of fun from the beginning. It was a good debut match for Ruby Soho on Dynamite to end the show. Man, that was awesome. Like, having that main event, women's match, title match, like having that end the show was just a perfect culmination of the whole night, guys, because we got to see an amazing match early on, a show that held us the whole time, and we got to see the only title match to end the show. And we got to see one of our favorites go against a newcomer that everybody loves. So it's a lot of fun for everybody. I'm sure the crowd just was eating that up.
Oh,
because,
man.
like, again, this was a relatively longer match for what we usually see in the women's division. This was like 15, 17 minutes.
Yeah.
So we got a longer match, which is great. It's what it needed. We didn't get a rushed main event like we've had the last couple of weeks too. It went to basically till the show ended, and we got the lockjaw with a minute left in the show.
Yeah.
And it was just epic. And I think that what was interesting too is that we got to see Britt against somebody quite a bit smaller than her looked in the ring, and Britt looked like great heel. You can just tell how much she's improved in the ring. This is like a culmination of that as well, man. She looked great, and I think it's awesome that they're really pushing her and sticking with her and giving her this opportunity to be the DMD as the champ, because she's earned it. And this was a great match. It was a great main event.
Yeah, I like that last point you made too about Britt kind of having her size. If in kind of being in a power position. If you go back and listen to some of the episodes where SPD and I talked about the Thunder Rosa feud, that was one of my favorite parts about getting to see what Thunder helped bring out of Britt. And Britt being in a position where she got to be kind of almost a powerhouse, kind of showing off her strength. I like seeing that side of the DMD. So often she has to be portrayed as the cowardly heel that we're not allowed to see kind of what she's capable of in the ring when she's able to toss some people around a little bit.
Right.
And I that's one of the things I was most excited about this main event was because I feel like Ruby kind of is cut from the same cloth as Thunder, and some of, I think, the women's best talents that understand that it's about building each other up and about working together to put on a great product. And you're seeing the cream rise to the top. AEW, when we have those interviews with other talents, SPD, you either get on board or you get out. You got to be all about the brand and helping each other get better. And I see that right now in the women's division. Like I talked about, that the tag division has at points, I felt like the last few months, taken a little bit of a step back, and the women's division has really stepped forward. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that there's this division, these women are really in on what and you could tell AEW believes in this division. They're investing in it.
As they should.
And again, that is a testimony to how far they've come. We think that there's obviously, I'd like to see Riho and Shida and some of these other names that kind of came up the earlier days of the women's division get that opportunity now to test themselves against this division now, because this division has grown so much, man. It's unbelievable. It's really cool to see, and it leaves me wondering, what's next for the next big feuds of the women's division, and there's room for more than one.
There is.
That's for
there
sure.
Needs to be. I think the growth. I want to see a growth of a tag division, like I've said before. You build that up. You still need a little bit more depth, and that's why I've constantly said, like, bring in a true tag team. Like, if you want to add more women, I think you debut a true tag team.
The Iconics would be a great fit.
Would be great, and then that way you can start creating tag teams that go against these true tag teams. So like I said before, or as we're kind of seeing, Penelope Ford and the Bunny and the Dark Order, Tay and Anna, like, you can start to form that, and then others could start to develop.
And it'll expedite that build as well.
Yeah, right. So debut a true tag team in the division to kind of make be a little wrecking, and then that way you can instantly create a tag division.